Hi, and welcome back to another video of the Target Individual Program, Target Individual Experience. They've been, again, um, very subtly, but very frequently, using police sirens, having me on the remote monitor, and one of the things that they've done in particular, and I forgot to even mention this, but in my bedroom, my bedroom door, I have garbage bags that I usually put up so I can put garbage in. Usually, non-food stuff, right? Like paper, plastic, stuff like that. Um, so I talk about how they love to use the color green, right? So my sister, she's never done this. She's never done this. So I have a green garbage bag hanging on my bedroom door. And I talk about how usually when I come in my bedroom, my blanket is green. They will start using the police sirens, and then also when I leave, I get fixated on staring at the garbage bag, and they will use the police sirens. So this morning, okay, I was sleeping. She comes into my bedroom and started all of a sudden talking. I was sleeping, but I was on the verge of waking up, right? So all of a sudden she starts talking about, let me take the garbage out. And I'm just like, hold up. All the years I've been living here with her, she's never, not once, and they go to police sirens again, because again, exposing what it is that they're doing. Never ever has she even taken garbage out of my room to throw it out. Okay, but because again, it's a green garbage bag, right? Because again, talking about my disability, they'll find different ways to try to say disability message about taking my disability. Because again, they make you disabled psychologically, manipulate you, psychologically damage you, then try to use the police as a method of intimidation to try to get you to, do things, not do things, using the police as a threat, right? So again, I understand pretty well what it is that they're doing. So anyway, so I went and got another garbage bag, another green one, okay? And they didn't like that because again, when I did that, they had some of the ambulances and the police, again, make it with the noise campaign, okay? So, I keep saying to myself, she is never taking up my garbage bag. So why is it all of a sudden now she's taking my garbage bag? You see, and again, from my observation, from my studying of their program, the psychological program, as well as the use of directed energy weapons, particularly silent sound spectrum, to manipulate our minds, to not also about the illegal microchipping, to hijack our consciousness, right, or to create a new consciousness within us that is one that is detrimental for us, right? And so I got a call from a TI, which we haven't really spoken to in years, but have contacted me recently, and again, I understand, because when we are in communication with each other, same as my brother, they will start targeting us and start to use each other as a means to target one another, right? Now, I tend it does affect me, but I tend to understand how they do these things, and particularly triggers. And some of us are more traumatized than others, and so it is through understanding that, and again through understanding psychology and just reading up about psychology and psychological program, particularly the MK Ultra program, also psychological conditioning, has helped me to not only anticipate a lot of the things that they do, particularly when it comes to your emotions. And this is why they still continue to try to use Pam to manipulate me, okay, or to try to get me to talk to other females, so then in turn they can manipulate me, right? This is part of the agenda, right? And again, I always look at things not just the fact that I'm going through, but particularly when it comes to the Black community and the things that we go through and how they manipulate us, and particularly now where you see black men are walking away because we come to the understanding that our women are so indoctrinated and so programmed that they don't even at this point care to understand what's going on within them, also within how they're being programmed. So it is relatively, and particularly within the community where you see that there are ignoring children, for example, when you hear, this is black women, some black women are aware because they'll do videos on YouTube saying that, black women choose single mother, and they're absolutely right, because this has happened to me with Pam. She told me one day that she didn't want to be in a relationship. She wants to be a single parent. Why? Because they use honey traps, particularly men, and with men, if you're heterosexual, they'll use women, right? Whether they're considered to be your ideal, your idea of beauty, your idea of sexiness, or what have you, and it is to get you to engage in, and again, things that you may not would engage in, or the fact that they know how they manipulate you. So with me, for example, we were talking about this, T.I. and I was talking about how they try to use gay men, and with her, lesbians, they try to make you engage in, threesomes, and engage in bisexuality, which, when you look at in our community, the black community, if you look at the number of our young women who identify as such, gay, lesbian, bisexual, it is a large percent of young black women. Okay, and at the same time, when you look at young white women, they're identifying less as such. Why do you think that is? Okay, why do you think that is? So one of the things that they don't like, again, is male black leadership within the black community. Okay, they will accept white male authority, but they will not accept black male authority. And again, this is the war and the agenda, because what black women don't understand is that when they help white racists to demonize black men, to incarcerate black men, to engage in negative behavior towards black men, what they're doing, not only are they isolating black men, but they are also isolating themselves. Because if you don't have strong masculine men to protect you as a woman in your community, guess what? Any other group of men, particularly you see white men, will use this, and they've been doing this, using their money and their status to cause conflict between black men and black women. So they know, I understand what's going on. Okay, this is why they try to, again, every time I try to do research and look at studies of these things, they will always use the police sirens. So right now, again, they're engaging in the frequent use of police sirens, but in a more subtle way. Okay, and this is stuff that they've always done before. Okay, so I observe, I study, I watch, I see what it is that they do, see what I do. I pay attention to my mindset and understand what was done, what is being done, and the use of drugs to alter, your brain chemistry, so that you become more susceptible to subliminal messaging, to silent sound, and so again, also the spreading of propaganda, okay, to make you believe in some supernatural force. But I always say, if you look up Robert J. Lipton, the 8 Criteria of Thought Reform, in there he talks about Melu and also about mystical manipulation or supernatural manipulation, right? So again, understanding these things will help you to understand better what it is you're experiencing as a TI, and if you see other people experiencing the same thing or engaging in sort of these languages, understand that they've been manipulated. See, this is why black women as a whole are the only group talking about manifestation. Okay, they want to manifest this, manifest that, manifest this. There's a video by There's this guy called Go Black to Africa, in which a Jewish rabbi was telling people something supernatural is going to happen. So this is for you black people. This is what he was saying. They don't even talk like this. So why is he talking like this and giving a message like this to us as black people? You know, I understand how they condition us to believe certain things. They engage in science, right? Creating things, technology. What do as a group, as a people, right? We believe more in this religious BS, this supernatural BS, while they're developing technologies, creating technological devices, weapons, and all these things. And they have us on our knees praying, claiming that we're also spiritual, also, magical. Bunch of nonsense, bunch of BS. Okay, this is why I have some of the utmost respect for our past ancestors, like Dr. Ben, Dr. Joachim, Dr. Francis Cress Wilson. They basically understand these things, right? Dr. Amos Wilson. They understand these things. They talk about these things. All right, they figured it out. Okay, but we are too indoctrinated, and as TIs, me as a TI, experiencing what I experience and what it is that they do. So when you look within the past couple months here in the United States, you see a lot of mass shooting. And I talk about this, right? And most of these mass shooters that you see now, particularly the ones in California, they have been targeted of harassment, okay? So I don't know if I told you guys this. Well, I have told you guys the story many of times about early on in my targeting, what was happening to me at my job and what transpired one night. So one day, I'm being targeted. I'm getting really, really upset, really, really pissed off, okay? And I started thinking, man, if I had a gun, I would shoot these motherfuckers up, right? This was my thought pattern, not understanding what was happening to me. I left work to go home. Again, of course I'm not going to do that. That's just not, maybe at the time if I did then maybe I probably would have, okay? That's to be honest and be transparent, because you don't know. When they mess with your mind, particularly when you're drugged and all this stuff, right? You and people who do this to you and others, you don't know what kind of personality you're going to create within those individuals, okay? But they have an agenda. They have an agenda. Whenever they have an agenda, they are always going to be victims. They're always going to be what they consider to be collateral damage. Okay? So one night, after leaving work, being pissed off because they were targeting me, not quite understanding the police, harassment, all these things, I get onto my block. Okay? This individual I see calls me. I don't know where he come from. Okay? But all of a sudden, I think he was sitting in his car. He got out of his car. It was like he was waiting for me. When at the time I didn't think of it as such, but knowing what I know now, okay, and this I'm talking about the early 2000s here, right? So knowing what I know now, I can definitely say that it was a plan. Knowingly or unknowingly, he was a plan. Calls me over to his vehicle. Okay. Opens up the trunk of his car. Shows me a gun with clips, okay? Now remember now, I was talking about how I was at my job being targeted. I was very, very pissed off, very, very mad, And of course, when you're in that state that they have you in, because that's what they want. That's how you think, because that's what they want you. That's how you've been programmed to think, okay? But it didn't happen. Why it didn't happen? I think for the most part because at the time I was still doing research and trying to figure out what was going on. And something says something is just not right. Okay? Something is just not right. So I went home, took a shower, went to sleep. Went back to work the next day, same thing. I believe during that same week, I went to the store, came back. There was these two Arab guys sitting in a van, okay, on my block again. Calling me as I was going to the store, but I ignored them. Right? I pretended I didn't hear them. On the way back from the store, they called me again. Oh, can we talk to you about something? I have something to tell you. I was like, no, thank you. And I kept walking. Okay? this is what the racists within the FBI and the NYPD, this is what they've been doing to a lot of us. I'm sure people in other states like Chicago, California, Los Angeles, they've been doing that to a lot of us also. Okay? And I keep saying to myself, how many more? How many more people have they been manipulating? Have they been drugging? Have they been brainwashing? Okay? And they will call you crazy because you talk about these things. Your own people, your own family. Because they don't have the knowledge to even begin to comprehend what it is that you're going through. They have been so indoctrinated with religion and the love of whiteness, okay, that they are easily manipulated by those within societal structure who will tell them what to do. All right? So anyhow, when that didn't work, okay, they started to move on to other things. Right? So for example, when I was doing laundry, I had my son with me. I went across the street to the store. When I came back, my son was crying. I asked him what happened. He said some guy walked into the laundry and pushed him against the machine, and he hit his head. He had a gash beneath his eyes. Right? That's what they do. One day, I took him to the movies. We were walking, white guy running, bumped into him. Okay? And at the time, we were walking, so it happened so fast that I kind of ignored. Right? There are other times when things like that was about to happen where I just look at them and I see that they'll, kind of back off, right? Again, one day I'm at the gas station, 2 kids in the car, this guy in a van, all right? He's making a turn at the gas station, and I'm like, you have all this space over there, but yet you're going to put the front of your car right as if he was going to crash into the back seat where my kid was at. So at the time, I just went, I approached him and I said, I will F you up. I said, I'm not playing with you, mother effers, okay? If you think I'm playing, I'm going to let you know, and you can tell your friends that if they try something like this again, I'm not talking, okay? And so when I started to become more vocal and more aggressive with them, then they stopped. Just as how they would bump into me, running back and they'd be like, excuse me. This is what they do, right? And they do this to basically test you, make you angry by doing it. So what I started to do when they would do that, I would just knock their ass down with my shoulders. Okay, and I would say, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you. Okay, this is what they do. This is how these people operate in the shadows using psychological operation, psychological warfare. And a lot of them are associated with religious cults. Okay? This is how they recruit them. And they feed them bullshit information. Right? Telling them that they're God soldiers and all this bullshit. And they think it's okay to target and bully people. Right? And because they think that it's done psychologically in the psychological realm, that they can get away with it. Right? So I decided long ago that I was going to try and understand what was being done. But not also that, but because they were doing this to my brother in the mid-1990s, they started targeting him, right? Not realizing that I was also being manipulated. Okay? Because when you think back, when you look back at certain things that happened, it's just very, very odd. And usually when you think back at odd things happening, probably because, especially if you're a TI, it's probably because, yeah, it was perpetrated on you. So now that you have all these mass shootings happening, okay, you start to see bullying pick up. All right? There was a period where we had campaigns about anti-bullying. We don't even see that anymore. Okay? Because you have psychotic people in power who have an agenda, and they are using us, members of the public, okay, whether it be because they're racist and or what have you. They are doing this to individual, whether it be with government conducting non-consensual human experimentation, illegal microchipping, right? This is all the root of white supremacy. This is why we have these things happening. And people have to look at it for what it is and stop pretending as if these individuals suddenly snap. You have to look at the behavior of the people around them, what they're saying, how they're being bullied, how they're being targeted, okay? Unfairly treated, because you have people particularly within the workplace, managerial supervisors, who okay these things, okay? Now, how is it that this shooter that happened, this mass shooter that happened, that he went to the police station, right, and had to wait there for 2 hours because no one is at the police station? No one was at the police station. And he waited in his vehicle, in his car. He literally went to surrender at the police, and no one was at the police station. If that don't strike you as odd, to make you even question things even more, then congratulations, you've successfully have been conditioned to be a mental state. It's the way you will believe whatever it is the media tells you, the police tells you. And it's getting worse. Why? Because they know that the technology that they've created, particularly silent sound spectrum technology, is used against us, and is used to manipulate us, to manipulate our emotions, our thought patterns. You see, and they know this. And one of the saddest things that happened to me today, not happened to me, but I was talking to the kid's mother, right? And because, again, how they condition her, okay? Now she is talking about getting our daughter evaluated and put on medication, when her herself needs to be damn evaluated, okay? And as I said, that they're sniffling. What, they think I won't talk about it? You could use her in your scheme against me. That's fine. That's fine, because I know enough now to where, like I said, you're not going to railroad me like you think you're going to railroad me. Okay? And you can use whoever you want, because I'm not religious. Okay? Because I prefer to not believe, but I prefer to practice my ancestral religion. Not religion, but spiritual practice. But make no mistake, right? Don't think you're gonna use what I subscribe to try to manipulate me to bend to your will, or whoever you're trying to manipulate. No, it's not going to happen. This is why I'm doing this video, to let you know it's not going to happen. Okay? So anyhow, so she was, the fact that she does not want to be a parent, but she wanted to have children. Okay? But when this happened to a lot of women in our community, and because their parents are religious, or they're religious, right? They have children, but and these children become an accessory when they're younger. When they're babies, they're lovable. They become accessories. They get attention. And this is why you see a lot of black women today. They are attention seeker. They have been so manipulated and have become so egotistical. This is why the majority of kids who are raised in homes headed by single mothers, you look at the statistics. There's nothing positive about that. When they're babies, kids are accessories. The black women love I should say black women, Negro European women love the attention given to them because of these babies. But when these kids grow up, they get older. Now you gotta, take them to school. They gotta help them with their homework. They don't want to do that because they're all conditioned to have fun. Fun. Okay? So she wants to put my daughter on evaluated to put on medication because she refused to be a parent. She think that putting working and putting a roof over their head, that's it. That's it. That's enough. That's parenting. No, that's not parenting. That's adulting. That's you being an adult. Okay? So understand what's happening in our community. And as a TI, understand what's being done to you and to the people around you within your family also. See, with this technology, they have to understand how it affects people outside of society. So they're not doing it in the lab. They haven't been doing this. They haven't conducted any sort of mind control experiment in the lab or in the penal institution or in the mental institution for decades now. They're doing it open in society. Well, not open in society, but they are doing it in open society, and it's being done covertly. So understand these things, okay? One of the things also, okay, I was talking to this TI. We're talking about how what they've been doing is now with the AI system, particularly chat. GP chat, okay? And people are actually, subscribing to this open source AI, and what they're doing is basically programming this AI. So what's going to happen? The government is they're very smart. These people, these dark triads, in getting us to engage in our own self-destruction, and not just me saying that as a black person, okay? Because now you have people using GP chat or whatever the heck it's called to take their college tests for them. So what's going to happen? People graduating, not really knowing, anything really. Basically, I shouldn't say anything, but basically, without true knowledge of what they went to college for. What kind of society do you think we're going to become? But these people don't care about that, because they know when it comes to certain jobs, robots and AIs are going to be replacing us. And you may think everything is science fiction, and this is what they want you to believe is science fiction. But go look at Boston Dynamics and see how sophisticated robots have become. Right? Go look. See, we as not just, I'm not talking about as a TI right now, but as a black person, we've been so indoctrinated with religion that when it comes to the sciences, we're basically non-existent. No knowledge. We can use the phone, the cell phone, but when it comes to creating, designing, developing, no. And those of us who have the knowledge are very few. And guess what? Guess what? We don't own these companies that develop, create, that produce technology, but we work for somebody else, which is fine. But we also have to own these technology, because these technology today are also being created to be used against us in the future, and our children and their children and their children's children. There are people in this world who don't want to see us as a people excel. They don't want that. They've spent centuries hiding our history from us. They literally want to put us back into slavery. Okay? You have to understand that. So, with that being said, I'll talk to you guys in the next video.